Hey, this is Connie Benjamin with Purpose Driven Entrepreneurs. And I am so excited today to be talking with Paul Valach about Zoom. Guys, I know we are all in Zoom. This is just how it is right now. And so I wanted to ask Paul a little bit about like what are some of the options that we have around Zoom? What are some options we have in the Zoom settings? Anybody that has run a group or an event or hosted an interview knows that there's things that we need to know about Zoom to get it optimized. So Paul, welcome to this conversation. So grateful you're here.
Hey, Connie, good morning to wherever you are. Thank you very much. I'm here in Arizona where it's 75 degrees. Be jealous. And that I think you're in Arizona too. So, anyhow, yeah, thank you very much for having me. I've been looking forward, and you are correct. Zoom is the tool of the day. All those other platforms have a way of chatting, but Zoom seems to be taking over, and they add new options, seems like almost on a weekly basis, and you're going, oh, when did that come about? Or better yet, where did they hide that control?
Paul, you are speaking my language, absolutely. And just to give you an idea of how knowledgeable Paul is. So Paul actually holds an MBA with the focus on technology and management. He's worked in a lot of different businesses, very successful. Was one of the first members of the Arizona Mac Users Group. He's had 2 radio shows. He's an accomplished photographer. Gosh, I feel like there's nothing you don't do, Paul. You've directed several television programs. What the heck? Yeah.
I'm sitting down, so my cane is against in the corner. I'm an old guy.
Whatever.
Way back in 1984, the Macintosh was a brand new thing. I just heard a thing on with Guy Kawasaki's talk on Clubhouse, and he was talking about the early days of Mac. So I have a Mac Plus in the garage. Somebody said that might be worth something.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so amazing. So, and I know that you really specialize in helping people with social media, and really, you can be found on all the social media platforms. So Paul, I've got a lot of questions for you about Zoom. So let's dive right in. Do you mind what is the best way to do this, Paul? Is the best way to show my screen around Zoom, or us just have a conversation about it? What works best?
Probably showing your screen, because that way you've got control of that. I'm not sure here because I've only been on StreamYard a couple of times. So, and that's mostly is what I'm doing or messing around with it. So yeah, probably just sharing your screen, and then I've got my stuff open here. So hopefully we will match. It should be the versions match up. That's always a debate on what version are you using. And then we can go through all the settings. There's tons of settings, and under some of them there's sub settings. So let's see what we can hit.
So we might have to have you come back here, Paul, so we can get this.
And it's also important to remember while Connie's setting this up. I'm going to say there's 2 versions of Zoom, two ways of getting to Zoom. One is if you are just like what the majority of people are, and that is they are the guest, they are the user, and the other is if you are a host.
Yeah.
So if you're a host, you get to see a whole new set of screens. So the one she's opened up right now is that if you are hosting a Zoom call, not if you are the user.
And that's what I want to focus on today, because I really, we work with a lot of purpose-driven entrepreneurs, coaches, and speakers. And of course, we do our influencer interviews on Zoom. So can you share with me a little bit about what are some of the coolest settings in the back of Zoom that we need to know about as organizers of events or meetings?
I'm just going to stare at your screen.
Yeah.
Here. So there's 2 types of meetings that you can host.
Yeah.
And people get them confused quite a bit. I know I did at the start. And one is just a meeting, which is probably what I would say those of us who are part of the Happy Neighborhood Project, or those who are part of chamber things, that it's a meeting. So you're going to have a whole bunch of folks attending. and that you can then sometimes there's breakout rooms, and the main difference is also in the chat. So down at the bottom of the screen when you're in a Zoom meeting, it's not here, but when you're in a Zoom meeting, there's that chat button that opens up on the right-hand side, all the people yakking away and posting there who they are and, maybe that and so forth. In the webinar, there is no chat. It's more of a question thing. So and you kind of select who sees the question, and then on that right-hand side, you get to type in your question. Connie, that was really cool what you just said. What can you go in that, or ask Paul, what about backgrounds and stuff. So webinars are more that I just want to lecture. Yeah. So kind of I'm just going to talk for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. And then people can ask questions and so forth. So those are the two types of ways of doing that. Okay. The other thing that gets recorded here, and you were just there, if you go back to your meetings, if you had a one-on-one with someone, it will also appear here.
Right. Okay. Cool.
So when you're organizing this, then it'll show those on there also. And the last thing I want to say about this, and then I'll pause, take a breath, is depending upon the level of Zoom you bought, because you have to have a certain level, this stuff changes, or how much is displayed or how much is offered. So if you're just a regular Zoom person, your hosting of meetings is not going to have all of these. I'm thinking that you are probably at an enterprise version, or maybe just below that. I have enterprise. The only reason I have it is through the Happy Neighborhood Project. It's $25 a month, and I get to hold meetings of 500 people. Ooh, wow! I wish I had 500 people show up. So those may be different for people depending upon what level of Zoom they have.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that overview. Now, Paul, can you go into some of the settings? I know we've got just a couple minutes in this conversation. Like I said, I want to have you back because I know that we could dive into this more. But we've got a couple minutes now. Walk me through how we do the participants thing. I mean, how do we know who showed up on our meeting? I think that's so cool that you know how to do that.
So if in your schedule there should be, and are you at the top? There should be one that says reports.
Okay, reports.
And I don't know which.
Oh, where's reports? Would it be in account? Is it under under account management and then reports? Okay.
Yes. So if you go. All right, and so usage reports, active hosts, inactive. So upcoming. So if you go down to this is mine's a little different than yours, and that may be just the setting of my items there. If you go up to the top, if you go up to the daily, so you're in reports right now. What's under user activity reports?
Operations log. Well, you can see
that is not it. I go under usage reports.
Okay.
And this may be the version of Zoom that you have. I may be just used to a different one. There should be one on the. Okay, so if you go down to meeting, let's go to meeting. On the right now. On the list.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, lots of things to choose
from. Paul.
Okay, so now you get your choice of what range of dates do you want. And it took me a few times to realize the word maximum. That it's only for 1 month. So if you go back to January 1st, so if you click on the little orange, that little red thing, and go back 1 month. So January 1st, it'll say the 31st at the end. Click on search. It will now list all of the meetings that you've had in that month. Okay.
So
depends.
Paul, I'll be honest. I am like really, and I'm just gonna delete that just so it can clear that screen. I always use the same link. I just use a reoccurring link quite often. Would that mess up my ability to get participants thing? Like, do you know if I can get a report from when I'm using a reoccurring meeting?
I think it'll come up. We can see right now if you go back to the January 1st, because right now you didn't do anything today.
Yeah.
And they had that there was one meeting there that there was one thing that popped up.
But I've met with lots of people in the middle, like from that time period. But I think it's not coming up because I'm
not sure, but let's go over. So who's Anne?
Oh,
who's Anne Lindstrom? Was that a one-on-one meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So are
He's an
these
amazing photographer? Just so you know. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So each individual meeting will be listed here. So you should have more meetings under here. I don't know why you don't have more, and it could be that you are using the that. So if you click on let's go to usage reports.
Yeah.
And let's go to meeting again. See if that. Oh, that's just the usage number. So there's your and okay, and you've done a lot of so these are one-on-ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should have listed those for you.
Okay.
Yeah, because when I go back to mine, and again, my meetings are the ones I listed were anyway my workshop, or that. So the 4 people, like the ones that came into it, they were all listed there, and it shows me how long they were there, how many minutes, and a couple of other things.
That's awesome.
So time-wise, and what? So I'm curious on the the link, because the link is the same.
Yeah.
For my webinar or for my meetings, I should say meeting or webinar. So it should have been there, and it would have showed you some information, just how long they were in the room and everything else, if you would have stayed there.
That is so cool. Well, that's awesome that we have that capability, because I know for people organizing a meeting, that's really important to know who the participants are. I think I just need to go back into Zoom and maybe give them a call and see how I can adjust my settings so I can see it.
Well,
Paul,
let me throw one more thing in there real quick. Yeah. So if we would have generated the report, it makes it a CSV file, which you can download. Yeah. And then you open that CSV file. It's a fancy word for a spreadsheet file. Yeah. So I open that up in Sheets, and I've got columns. So I've got the data set now that I can pull any bit of information out. It's got all the emails, so I can put those out, export those out to like a MailChimp or something else, and send everybody a hey, thanks for coming, and so forth. So you've got this spreadsheet of a whole bunch of data that you can do stuff with. That's really the important part of that, generating that report.
That is so cool. Paul, thank you so much for this conversation. You're absolutely amazing. How do we get in touch with you?
So a couple of ways. You can send me an email, which is my Paul@PMV Productions. Do you want me to put that into the chat, or?
Oh, I'll just, I'll show your banner, and then.
Yeah, just put a Paul in front of that.
Okay, sounds good.
Paul@PMV Productions, and then I am also Paul Valach at Clubhouse, although you can't really send me an email there, but I'm trying to get more on Clubhouse. And you can find me on Instagram and other places, but that's the best way to send me an email. Say, in the subject, if you would put Connie, or, that way I will know that it came from here, because I'm starting to unfortunately get a lot of spam, or a number of spams now into the business account. So I will pay more attention to it.
Sounds good. Paul, thank you so much for being with us today. I am so grateful for the conversation that we had, and knowing how to generate those reports, guys, for people that are attending your meeting. That's so important. Thanks so much for this conversation today, Paul.
Hey, Connie, thanks for having me, and I look forward to seeing you again, and obviously on Friday nights.
Absolutely.
With Doria. So we will see you there.
Yeah, Fridays with Doria. Totally.
Fridays
Come hang out
Doria.
with me and Paul. Yes. And until next time, I encourage you to use Zoom, set up those meetings that you've got going on, and generate those reports so you know who's attending them. And until next time, let your fire light up the world.